Welcome back to Nikolai's Comic Corner, classic, non-classic. This is episode number 2808, Doubleshot number 2702. This is going to be interesting because we're discussing issues from Batman and Detective Comics. Batman is issues 360, 361, and 363 through 372, and Detective Comics issues 527 to 542. Now, the way these issues are structured is that Detective Comics comes between every single one of these Batman issues. Let's start first, Batman 360 and Detective Comics 527. Yeah, this is Return of Man-Bat. Yeah, Man-Bat comes back in this two-parter. Yeah, everything is pretty much like a two-part. It continues in their books. That's kind of what we got here for this book here. Yeah, first it was a Savage Skull, like a recurring villain here, which lead. By the way, issue 360 is noteworthy for something really big. Excuse me. This is the start of Doug Moak's first run of Batman, and it starts with this very issue 360, and it continues into issue 400. Yes. Now, in the Batman series, you have Don Newman as the artist. Over in Detective, you have mostly Gene Colan. With the exception of 520, it's mostly put for a while, it's Gene Colan. So we deal with the Savage Skull, and of course we deal with Return of Man-Bat in Detective Comics 527. Moving back to yeah, and then it leads into like this back book here. We deal with more in Man-Bat. Yeah, I do like the fact they brought him back. And by the way, there's also stuff in here related to Jim Gordon in these issues. At one point, Jim Gordon is found collapsed in his office by Harvey Bullock, who takes him to the hospital, and then the mayor of Gotham City, like, at first see him like where he's like very much like a dick, and later on becomes a very nice person after Jim Gordon collapses. So the mayor's like, this would be a time to basically, well, get rid of Gordon. And Bullock's like, that's a terrible idea. So he occupies Jim Gordon's office for a bit while he basically, while Jim Gordon comes back. And they kind of basically deal with that. We also deal with the return of the Joker in here in these issues, where in one of the issues, I think it was Batman 364, I think it was, or was Batman issue, I don't know which issue it was. Jason Todd becomes Robin for the first time, where he dyes his hair black and he basically puts on an old Dick Grayson costume. Eventually, of course, he does become Robin officially a little bit after this, and he remains Robin up until his death in 1987. And aside from the return of him, we also have it where in one of the issues we deal with debut. Well, now, in issue 363, we debuted a woman named Nocturne, this beautiful, chalk-skinned white woman who Bruce is falling for. Excuse me, who Bruce is smitten by. And I gotta admit, very lovely woman, and a lot of the time she's like Bruce's recurring love interest prior to Flashpoint. Not Flashpoint. Prior to the crisis along with Catwoman. Yes, so there's a party going on, and she goes by her name is Nocturna. That's her code name, but her public name is Nasha Knight, and Bruce is sort of smit with her because, aside from the fact she's got jet-black skin, she's a very beautiful woman. I gotta hand it to the artist of this issue, Don Newton, did an excellent job basically drawing her. Like, this is her basically in her debut appearance. Like, oh my gosh, wow, what a gorgeous babe. Yeah, and then the story continues over in Detective. Yes, it continues over in Detective Comics. Excuse me. Or it's like, oh, against the fall of Nocturna. She disappears for a little bit after this two-parter. Yes, and then move back to Batman after this quick little two-parter, where Batman takes on this creature known as Chimera. Yep. Yeah, and it was this issue here where Harvey finds Jim Gordon collapsed on his desk. And in Detective Comics, you find who the heck Chimera is. In Detective 531, where he just, some character appears in this book. I mean, is this wrapped up with Nocturne in this issue? Well, then of course, we deal with Vicky Vale in here. Move on back to Batman for 365. Oh yeah, this is basically a multi-parter that leads into. This is the one that debuts Jason Todd as Robin, I believe so. So you have Harvey basically just taking care of Jim Gordon in the hospital. Vicky Vale gets on a jungle adventure here, and borrows by her father's side while he's recovering in the hospital. And it's during this multi-part we end the first part here, reveal the Joker in return. Yep. Yeah. We end basically 364 with the Return of the Joker. And I believe it was this issue here is one where you have, I think it was this one here where Jason Todd just showed, actually it's the Batman issue. And Batman 366 is called The Joker is Wild. Also, I love that freaking cover. It's awesome. Yeah, and of course, basically, a Joker shooting things up, and of course, Batman protecting Vicky Vale here. And by the way, this is like sort of like in Mexico. Yeah, Joker in Mexico. And then all of a sudden, Robin comes in, except it's actually Jason Todd who decided to just dye his hair. From what I heard, documentary, this actually was very controversial when this happened. Now, like I mentioned before, Conley created Jason Todd. He did not make him Robin. That was Doug Moak who did that. Yep. Yeah, and then we deal with the whole killing Commissioner Gordon. I think someone trying to kill him, and this is Detective 533. They do, in fact, stop the killer. And then we deal with Return of Poison Ivy. An issue in Batman 367. Yes, the Return of Poison Ivy. We also have Alfredo Aquila joining Don Newton in the artwork here, which is gorgeous artwork. At first, you have Tim. Not Tim, I think it's Tim. When JC puts on a previous costume he wore. At one point, he didn't want to call himself Robin until Dick comes in and said, yeah, you can use the name Robin, no problem. Yeah, and the thing is, this very story officially becomes Robin. Also, Ivy is wearing nothing but these Leave bikini. Yeah, now her attire, people know for, oh no, let's basically reveal more skin with her. Yeah, at first she's wearing that, and then, like, later on she puts on the full attire. It's like the artist couldn't figure out what they want to do. And then, of course, move on to Detective, where 534 has this wonderful what we deal with this is what continued the Poison Ivy story in here. and they still debate basically his name. Even have the call him Ishmael, which is a reference to Moby Dick. Yep, and this is the issue where you have Jason Todd on the cover as Robin for the first time. Yep. Oh yeah, and they deal with the issue Return of the Polka Dot Man. Yep, he's back. And Dick Grayson's here to just make Jason Todd give Jason Todd his blessing and become Robin. Like, oh, gonna kill him here? No, that doesn't happen for another few years. Moving back over to Detective Comics with 535, where it continues the combat with Polka Dot Man. Yes, the frickin' Polka Dot Man. Which I think gets wrapped up by the issue, and then we move back to Detective Comics 369. With this and the very next issue of Detective is a two-parter dealing with the return of Deadshot. Where we have Battlism in here, and then figures, he's hired by some French guy to kill Batman. He doesn't at first, though, they do make he did hire Deadshot to kill Batman. Really interesting two-parter. Next up, basically, is Batman 370. Don Newton's artwork in this issue becomes really bizarre. It's like, I don't know, it's like the website just does this with the artwork. It's like very whited out. Like, maybe this issue didn't survive, and it's just basically just them doing the best. Maybe someone found this book in black and white and they just recolored it. And it's not much happening in that issue per se. No, not really. That's kind of the strange thing about the issues. Like, not much happens. It's called Down Below, which, of course, there's a little more supernatural stuff here with this book. Yep, I don't mind the supernatural stuff per se. Not really. Yeah, and then, of course, Batman reunites with his old fiancée in this issue. Yeah, in the case of that two-parter, not much happens. Moving into Batman 371, which is the second last issue discussing Batman in this one. Where, yeah, this issue and the following issue of Detective, it's the return of Catman. Yep, freaking Catman is back. Yeah, and he is tormenting Batman. Not much Catwoman this time, more Batman. Yeah, Tommy Blake is back for reasons. Yep. And then, like, you have Batman in a boxing match in issue number 372. Lucius Fox is a limited issue that doesn't do a lot per se. Excuse me. It's mostly about a boxing match that concludes over, obviously, in Detective. Yeah. And then the next multi-parter deals with Return of the Scarecrow. Yep. The Return of the Scarecrow. Like, okay. So Doug brings back Joker, brings back Catman, introduces a new character, brings back Deadshot, and now it's freaking time to bring back Scarecrow. Like, okay, interesting. Yeah, it starts with the next Batman issue, 372. I think it was like 373, I think it was. And they go on to Batman. Now, 373 and 375, not discuss issues, but here, the rest of this thing is just discuss basically the comic issues. So, we do a Scarecrow, and then, like, okay, who's next villain? The Penguin. Yep, we deal with the Penguin here. And 541 was continued from 570, from 574. And then finally, for this last issue here, where it's like Batman and Robin in a version of the Batmobile. Really weird design of Batmobile. where it's like them taking on some assassin per se. And that's it. I gotta admit, these issues actually were pretty good. I actually really enjoyed these issues. And we're about most of the way through with the remaining issues of the Bronze Age for the Batman. Because there's some trades collecting stuff here. Most of there's like 1 or 2 issues in the Batman Arkham books, but not all the issues per se. There is no Batman by Doug Moak. I really wish there was, but there isn't. Excuse me. I think I'm going to one by Gene Colan. The first one's a trade, but like Liv per se. I mean, in case you're curious though, with issue 375 with Batman, like you would think, oh, I have like 25 issues left of the era of Bronze Age Batman. Not really. If you're curious how much is left, well, if we take out 5 issues, it is roughly 20 issues left. And I probably am going to finish up the mini issues of that later. But as for in the case of Detective, you probably think, oh, with 543 would have like 15 issues left. No, it's like 14 left for Detective. So not much left to go. I'll probably finish up really soon. Yep. So yeah, that's it particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not the dislike button. Next up is going to be, well, not Comic Corner. Talk about some Superman. Okay? So, bye.